Hey everybody, Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Laurel Blanchard here talking about our severe chances for the rest of our Sunday. We are here live on Fox Local, we're on Facebook, we are on YouTube, we are all over social media platforms, so feel free to tune in, comment any of your questions. We'll take a little bit of time to answer those questions as we head through this next 10-15 minutes weather discussion of what we're in for the rest of the day. But that's ultimately what we're looking at. We are going to be in for some severe weather for sure, so just make sure you are staying weather aware. And a line of storms making its way off the west coast and basically being dragged through central Florida. This is the same line of storms that really packed a punch and caused some devastating damage, long-lasting tornadoes that lasted for miles over the Alabama and Mississippi border. So we are still seeing this line have a little bit of a punch, and right now causing some weather alerts all across the East Coast because this was a very big system. But we'll really start off with a live radar, break that down right now, and then we'll slowly shift over to what we're in for the rest of the day, take a couple of questions, and then we will also do a good wrap up to make sure everyone is on the same page as we head through the rest of your Sunday. So again, join in on Fox Local, Facebook Live, YouTube, you name it, we are on it right now. And we're just going to take the next 10-15 minutes to really just break down what we're in for the rest of the afternoon. So I'm going to switch gears real quick. Let's start off with a live breakdown of what's happening right now. We'll switch over to the weather monitor right behind me, and we'll just do a good breakdown of what we're in for right now and where we're seeing the most active weather. So just as a quick breakdown, we are right now using the Jacksonville radar. This is the radar that's closest, and we get the best view of all the storms that are currently happening from Jacksonville down through Gainesville and Levy County. So we've been seeing some severe thunderstorm warnings, especially along this line. We saw one in Gainesville, Alachua, and northern Marion County earlier on this afternoon. And we're going to continue to see just a lot of lightning make its way on the coast of Levy County, up through Gainesville and through Jacksonville as we head through the rest of the afternoon. I'm going to make sure all of my alerts are coming in. So if we do see anything, we'll be able to break it down right here. And it looks like things are good at the moment. Let me just turn this on real quick. Okay, let's get started. So we are right now just breaking down the radar, what we're currently seeing, especially across the Gainesville area. And with that, we're going to be really focusing in on what we can see, especially right now. So here's that computer right here on Links 2. And again, just making sure all of my alerts are coming in nicely. All right, that looks good. Okay, so right now we're just seeing all of that active weather starting to roll into the Gainesville area. Let's do a little bit of a close in here because right now lots of lightning, especially across the Gainesville area, is what we're seeing right now. We can see just south of Gainesville, moving over I-75, 222 strikes of lightning. So this is a very big storm route there for sure. And just to see if there's any skits out here right now. So it looks like the main part of the parent storm right now is about 10 minutes away from Flemington. So it's going to be making its way up towards into McIntosh and Reddick. So it looks like just south of Gainesville, this storm is going to be moving. So if you're in the Gainesville area, you're not going to get hit with this. However, we still have more storms down to the southwest that we're going to be watching very closely. Looks like this storm is moving at 36 miles per hour to the east-northeast. So that's something that we're going to be watching through the rest of the day today. And of course, we do have tornado watches in effect for the next hour. This is until 3 p.m. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did get extended a little while longer, as we are seeing some of these thunderstorms have just that little bit of rotation, nothing concerning, but it could always pick up, just like in the system that we saw on Monday. So that's what we're looking at right now. Let's get this off of here at the moment. And overall, we're just keeping an eye on all of this lightning. So that is one of the indicators that we see a storm strengthening, but this actually seems pretty consistent as it's been making its way to the northeast. Let's back up just a little bit, because even as we make our way more towards areas in northern Putnam County, we're seeing a lot of rain, but especially in Levy County. I'll turn those little skits off right here. We're just going to continue to see all of this rain that's just off the west coast and in the Gulf right now, just string through areas across Levy County, Dixie County, and parts of Alachua and Marion counties. So these areas really going to be seeing the brunt of the rain right now before we slowly start to see this line weaken, but it has the possibility of re-strengthening as we head through the rest of the afternoon, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But right now, as we take a little bit of a zoom out, we can see lots of lightning, and this is going to be the continuation of that storm that's set to roll through central Florida as we head through the rest of the afternoon. So just real quick, let's do some live analysis right here, bringing back in that area across Levy and parts of Marion and Alachua counties right here. Again, not seeing anything that's jumping out to me at the moment, but let's shift around a couple of things. Again, we're using the Jacksonville radar just because this is the closest radar to where we're seeing those storms. It's far enough away that we get a good view of those storms, and it's not too close either where we're not getting the higher up dynamics of this storm either. So that's a good thing right there, is what we're using at the moment. Not really seeing anything that jumps out, but we are seeing a lot of lightning right here. Smidge of rotation, but not seeing any severe weather alerts at the moment or any special weather statements, so good news. But that's going to be a little bit of a cell that we're going to be watching through the rest of the afternoon, and especially as we head through the next hour or so as it continues to make its way up towards the northeast. Again, not really seeing anything across Levy County that's too concerning, so we're really just going to keep an eye on that very heavy rain and those thunderstorms that are happening, especially across Marion and Alachua counties right now. All right, let's shift over, talk about a little bit of that timing of what we're going to be in for the rest of the afternoon, and then we'll take a quick break to look at some comments. But overall, this is the system that we're watching, and I'm going to switch over to the weather wall real quick. This is the entire system. So we have that rain moving through our region. You can see those tornado watches in effect through the border, especially from our neck of the woods all the way up into southern Georgia. But we're also seeing another part of this storm really starting to amp up, and this is leading to actually some tornado warnings up into Pennsylvania. So this is the part 2 of this storm that's really starting to amp up as we head through the latter half of today. And we can see that right there, exactly where that orange spot is, that increased chance of severe weather across Pennsylvania. That's exactly where we're seeing that little bit of an outbreak right now. But the big thing that changed from last night to today is that severe weather outlook got pushed south even further. So it was from Gainesville to Ocala yesterday, and it really got pushed down now, including the Sanford area and Claremont area as we head through the rest of the day. So let's just talk about a little bit of threats, and then we'll take a quick break to look at some comments. Overall, we do have all of the ingredients there for tornadoes, which is why we are under a tornado watch until 3 p.m. And here's just that tornado potential. We have a lot of factors similar to what we saw on Monday, but just a little bit different. But here we do have that tornado potential through the rest of the afternoon, especially up towards Gainesville as we see those winds pick up, as well as we did see a good amount of sunshine earlier today. That just allowed for the heat to really pick up as well, which adds to that rising air. Also increases the humidity because we have that warm air coming up from the south. All ingredients just to kind of take into consideration as we head through the next couple of hours. It does seem that this line starts to lose those ingredients, but again, because of that sunshine, it could pick up, especially as it's making its way parallel to the I-4 corridor as we head into later on this evening. But because that sun is down, I don't think that's going to be very likely. So overall, our really pinpoint window is from now until about 10 p.m. before we do start to see things calm down through the rest of the evening. As for that storm timeline, we're pretty much right on cue for here. Maybe we can push these just a little bit back, but overall we are seeing again that storm line right now moving into Gainesville, moving through Ocala, so we're really pretty much right on the money with this timing. Here in Orlando though, probably going to start to see this storm roll through at about 5-6 p.m. and then continuing to move out of Brevard County as we head into a little bit later on, probably at about 10. So here's that forecast, and then after this we'll take a quick break, look at some comments. Here's that line of storms and what we're in for the rest of the evening. Again, keeping hold on the possibility of strong winds, keeping also the possibility of large hail, tornadoes, again, not out of the question as we looked at those ingredients a little bit earlier on. But as we talk about timing, and heaviest of the rain and the main line moving through, continuing to make its way down the I-75 corridor as we head through the rest of the evening, starting to break up a little bit. This is what we saw with those ingredients kind of losing their strength in the tornado potential graphic that we just showed a couple minutes ago. And we're going to to see this line break up, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if it did almost re-strengthen, especially just south of the I-4 corridor as we head into a little bit later on this evening, kind of just tapping into all that sunshine energy that we got earlier on today, that humidity, that rising air. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a couple of those thunderstorms almost re-strengthen as we headed into a little bit later on. So that's the forecast. Now let's take a quick break and we'll hop back over to the Weather Center, take a look at some Facebook comments that we've been getting in as we've been streaming here. But overall, winds is 15 miles per hour. We'll tell you, wind is definitely going to pick up as that line gets a little bit closer. So thank you. I just lost that. Johnson Joy, thank you so much for that comment right there. Winds are going to be picking up. They were breezy yesterday, and they're going to continue to pick up as that line continues to move through. When will it be in Eustis? I'll pop that timing graphic back up very quickly. So again, you can find that in your hometown. Eustis probably anywhere between, I would say, even 3 and 5 p.m. So that's going to be coming up very soon as that main line of storms. Overall, that's pretty much all the questions that we have. When will it hit Lake Mary? Again, kind of in that same time frame, between 3 and 5 p.m. is what models are suggesting right now. And that looks like all the comments at the moment. Please feel free to ask any more questions as we head through the rest of the afternoon. But I do want to go into a little bit more of the threat factor. Of course, we did just have that tornado on Monday, so a lot of folks are a little scared and a little on edge because areas, especially in Seminole County, are still trying to recover from that tornado that we got on Monday. So that's something that we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on, especially because we're going to see those winds really pick up as that line continues to move through. So let's hop back over to the weather wall real quick. This is what we're going to be seeing as we head through the rest of the afternoon. And again, as that line continues to move closer, those winds are really going to pick up. So as we do take a look, this is the current winds out there right now. We can see gusts possibly 30 miles per hour in Orlando. Gainesville, I think that one's a little bit off because that should be much higher. But overall, we're seeing possibly 20 mile per hour gusts, even just nowhere near where the line is right now. So south of the I-4 corridor, winds are already gusty, and as that line gets closer, they're only going to get even more blustery as we head through the rest of the evening. So just taking a look at those storm threats, damaging winds is number one. We could see those damaging winds up to 40 and 50 miles per hour, especially if you do find yourself in a stronger thunderstorm, but immediately out ahead of the line, easy looking at a 40 mile per hour gust out there. And again, because we have a little bit more storm energy in the air, we talked about that with the ingredients that we're seeing right now with the storm system. Large hail not out of the question. This is definitely associated with some of those stronger thunderstorms. We're seeing a little bit of rotation here and there when it comes to tornadoes, but really nothing that's really jumping out to us right now. We could see that weaken as we head through the rest of the afternoon, but also pick up once again as it makes its way closer to the I-4 corridor. So that's something that we're going to be watching very carefully. Headed through the rest of the afternoon, this is what we're talking about with those wind gusts. Here's that main line, just to put that in perspective right here, and you'll see that those measurements really just jump up as that line is continuing to move down closer to the I-4 corridor. As we head through this evening, areas across Leesburg possibly getting close to 40 mile per hour gusts, and then it finally starts to die down as it makes its way out of Brevard County. But even still, looking at 30 mile per hour gusts right along the coastline as we head through the rest of the evening. But we're not done there. Even after that line moves through, much cooler air is pulling into the region, and this is what's really going to start to calm us down but cool us down as we continue to see that just much cooler air settle into the region. So once again, this is what we're looking at for timing, and while I keep this up, I'm going to take one last look at those comments to see if we see anything there, but please feel free to find your hometown to see when we're seeing those storms roll through. Nicole says, how will the Disney area be? I think, Nicole, later on this evening is when we're going to start to see this line roll through Disney, maybe looking at a couple of heavy downpours, but just make sure you're watching the weather forecast with that as we head through the rest of the evening. Ocala wind gusts, we just talked about that, possibly as that line makes its way closer, especially in the Ocala area, possibly looking at about 40 mile per hour winds. So thank you, Mark, for writing in that. See if we can try to find a couple more that I haven't found about that. That's pretty much everything right now. A couple of people are asking about rainfall totals, possibly looking at a couple of heavy downpours, but really anywhere between a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch, not out of the question, but they're going to be very quick downpours, very similar to what we see in the summertime. Let's take a look at just a couple of more ingredients and then we'll wrap this up. We'll take one last look at the comments, but really this is the timing of what we're seeing through the rest of the afternoon. And then as we head into later on this afternoon, those temperatures are going to get a little bit warmer. This is what we're sitting at right now, 87 degrees in Orlando. But if we also just keep in mind of these temperatures, already starting to see that drop in the Gainesville area. Something that's also playing a part is that dew point. It is very humid out there today. So what we're seeing right now is that humidity and that moisture also being added into the mix, which kind of just does add that moisture, that storm energy. Sunshine acts as a little bit more of almost a rebound when it comes to storm strength. So if you have sunshine before a line of storms, usually makes them a little bit more intense. So that's something that we're going to be watching. But that's also something that we didn't necessarily have as strong of on Monday. We had more wind shear but less storm energy, and today we have more storm energy and less wind shear. So that's something that we're just going to be watching through the rest of the afternoon. One more timing graphic and then we'll wrap it up here. We'll take one last more look at the comments, but overall for the forecast, continuing to see this make its way down as we head through the rest of the afternoon and evening. We did get a comment about Disney, so possibly making its way across the Orlando corridor, probably throughout the late evening hours, so probably between 6 and 8 o'clock is when it would be moving through. Be prepared for very gusty winds, maybe a couple of quick downpours, and also just keep in mind maybe seeing some lightning out there, so just make sure you are staying weather aware if you're at the parks later on this evening. Continuing to make its way through Orange County and into Brevard County as we head through the overnight tonight, and then finally starting to fizzle out, I would say about midnight and 1 o'clock in the morning, we should be in the clear. So that's ultimately what we're seeing right now. That's the timing, that's the threats, and that pretty much answers a good amount of our viewer questions that we've had right now. Let's do one last stream of the comments. Theme parks and fireworks. I am a little bit nervous, especially with the wind gusts as it makes its way through that region. It might be a little bit of a delay, but that I hope does not put anybody's plans too much at bay, because I know it's very busy at the theme parks out there right now. We're also getting a couple of questions about the UCF area. UCF, probably about eastern Orange County right here. Again, same as the theme parks, possibly going to see that between 5 and 8 p.m. So that's that window right there. I believe the fireworks at the theme parks are at 8 or 9 o'clock. So fingers crossed that shouldn't impact them too much, but you will definitely notice those winds. Very, very windy through the rest of the evening, especially if you're in the Orlando area, theme parks, UCF. Winds are going to be the big story, especially as we head through the rest of the evening. I think I covered the majority of the comments there, and please feel free to continue to comment. I'll be looking at the comments after the fact to answer a few more of those, but I'll pop up that timing graphic one more time so you can take one last look at that before we wrap up this quick discussion. And we'll be here on Fox Local, on Facebook, as we head through the rest of the evening, as we continue to track all of these storms. I am going to hop back on radar real quick. This is just a new update, and then we'll wrap up here. We're seeing a special weather statement issued by the Jackson office right here. This is a special weather statement for Putnam County, parts of Marion and Alachua County. So if I switch back just real quick, that is this storm that we were tracking at the very beginning of this stream. And right now we're just looking at a lot of lightning. There are 276 lightning strikes just within this little system itself, looking like a lot of rain as it makes its way more up to Palatka. I'm going to back up just a little bit because we are still seeing some more of those heavy downpours that are going to continue to move up towards the northeast as we head through the rest of the evening. Quick little switch, because again, I am just keeping an eye on this one. We talked about this earlier on. So if we just take a look at the rotation, seeing a little bit of rotation there. Let me take the lightning off so it's a little bit easier to see. So we are still seeing a little bit of rotation. We're keeping an eye on that right now. Again, tornadoes not out of the question as we take a look at severe weather through the rest of the evening. But I do think that is one of the reasons why we are seeing this tornado watch, as well as this special weather statement get issued for southern Marion, northern Marion, southern Alachua County, right on the border between the two, moving over towards Putnam County. So that's what we're looking at the moment. Just something to keep in mind if you're in this area. Make sure you are staying staying weather aware through the rest of the evening. We'll keep you updated here on Fox Local, on Facebook, on YouTube, if there is anything that we see, and we'll just make sure you are staying weather aware and staying with us here at Fox 35 as we continue to track the severe weather. Have a great afternoon, everybody.